They said this ship could not sink. A floating palace. A triumph of engineering. A symbol of human progress. But no one stopped to ask a simple question. How were they so sure? Because the real disaster didn't begin with an iceberg. It began long before Titanic ever touched the cold waters of the Atlantic. Most people believe Titanic sank because it hit an iceberg. That's true, but it's also misleading. Titanic didn't sink because of a single mistake. It sank because of a chain of decisions, assumptions, and ignored warnings. And many of those mistakes were made before the iceberg was ever seen. Titanic was designed to survive damage. It had watertight compartments, a revolutionary feature for its time. But there was a critical flaw few people knew about. These compartments did not extend all the way to the ceiling. If enough of them filled with water, the water could simply spill over into the next one. So Titanic could survive limited damage, just not the kind of damage it actually suffered. On the night of April 14th, 1912, the ocean was unnaturally calm. There were no waves. Normally, waves crashing against icebergs make them easier to spot in the dark. But that night, the sea looked like glass. The lookouts had no binoculars. They were locked away, and the key was not on the ship. By the time the iceberg was finally seen, it was already too late. Titanic was traveling at nearly full speed. Throughout the day, multiple iceberg warnings had been received, but the speed was never reduced. At the time, speed meant confidence. Slowing down meant doubt, and there was no room for doubt on a ship believed to be unsinkable. When the iceberg appeared, the order was given to turn the ship. That decision changed everything. If Titanic had struck the iceberg head-on, only the front sections would likely have been damaged. But instead, the ship scraped along the iceberg's side. This created a series of small openings along the hull. Not one massive hole, but many narrow breaches. Water began flooding multiple compartments at once. The steel used in Titanic's hull also played a role. In freezing temperatures, it became brittle. Some of the rivets holding the steel plates together were weaker than expected. Under stress, they failed, and water poured in faster than anyone anticipated. At first, no one believed the ship was sinking. Passengers were told to remain calm. Some stayed inside, drinking coffee, talking, laughing. Because Titanic couldn't sink, lifeboats were lowered, but many were launched half-empty. There weren't enough lifeboats for everyone, and the ones that existed were not used efficiently. People were reluctant to leave a massive steel ship for a small wooden boat. The crew was not fully trained for a large-scale evacuation. Instructions were unclear. Precious minutes were lost. As the bow slowly dipped into the ocean, panic began to spread. And then something happened that few expected. Titanic broke in two. The front section plunged into the darkness of the Atlantic. The rear section rose into the air for a brief, terrifying moment, and then followed. The water that night was lethally cold. Most of those who entered it survived only minutes. Nearby ships failed to arrive in time. Some distress signals were seen but misunderstood. Others were never noticed at all. When help finally came, it was already over. More than 1,500 people lost their lives. What makes the tragedy even more haunting is that many of those lives could have been saved. Safety laws at the time were outdated. Lifeboat requirements were based on a ship's weight, not passenger count. Titanic technically followed the law, but the law was dangerously behind reality. Years later, when the wreck was discovered, another shocking truth emerged. Titanic had not sunk in one piece, as many once believed. It had violently split apart, confirming survivor testimonies that were once dismissed. The ocean floor became a scattered graveyard of human ambition. Shoes, dishes, personal belongings, frozen in time. Titanic didn't sink because of nature alone. It sank because of human confidence pushed too far, because of ignored warnings, because of the belief that technology had finally conquered limits. Titanic is not just a shipwreck, it is a warning. Great disasters rarely happen in a single moment. They are built slowly, through small decisions that seem harmless at the time, until one night there is no turning back. Because the greatest danger is not the iceberg we see, but the warnings we choose to ignore. If this video made you see Titanic from a different perspective, don't forget to like the video. And for more deep, true stories from history, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Some stories only reveal their meaning when they are finally told the right way.